Hello, everybody. So I'm not going to have a presentation for you. I will just briefly tell about how all started and what was our aims and tasks, and about the residency itself. The artist Ingrīda Pičukāne and project coordinator Vita Valheima will tell you more. So, Riga Circus Wellbeing Residency took place at SOS Children Village Graši. It started in July 29, and today is the last day of the residency. And for Riga Circus as organization, it was important to be, for us, it is important to be socially responsible organization, and so to bring cultural investment in the socially less seen areas. And the Wellbeing Residency Think Tank Network, which we are part of, is a great opportunity to learn and to share. And since the very beginning, for us it was clear that this project we would like to develop in collaboration with institutions such as orphanages, juvenile detention centers, institutions who work with socially disadvantaged families. So we found Children's Village Graši. This institution is a long-term social care and social rehabilitation institution that provides care close to the family environment for children and teenagers from socially disadvantaged families, from the families without parental care. And this institution has previous experience with inviting foreign artists for residencies, and I must say that was a very important aspect for Riga Circus and for us as organizers to do the first tryout of Wellbeing Residency with partners who would be familiar with the residency concept itself. And I have to say, I don't regret this, that we didn't risk so much, that we had experienced organization on the other side. So the Children's Village is situated in Cēsvaini parish. It is a rural area of Latvia in a beautiful countryside. There is a village that has a school, a church, 2 castles, a hotel, but there are no, regarding cultural activities, there's not much happening. And the closest town is 20 kilometers away, and it is not very full of cultural activities as well. So for us, it was a good place where to start. And in the village, there are approximately 30 children from different parts of Latvia, age from 5 to 17. And they live in 4 houses. They are separated as 4 families from each other. And in each house, they live together with an educator. And altogether, there are 16 member staff in the institution who take care of children, of other daily things as like food and transportation and all the organizatorial things. Each house of the children, they have some common tasks, but generally each house lives separately, each from another. So regarding all this, we did open call. We did it in May because COVID-19 came with some restrictions, and that situation, as we all know, was not clear for a long time. So we did call it open call in May, and after 1 month we got results. And we were looking for artists or artist groups from Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, with interest in socially engaged work for 3 weeks residency. As the Riga Circus is becoming a multidisciplinary arts center, we And we have a residency program for different art fields. Also, this well-being residency was meant for all kinds, all the artists working in different art fields. Would it be circus artists, dancers, performers, musicians, visual artists? For us, it was important to be open to any art field. Why 3 weeks? This was discussed with the institution and with the partner institution. And we came to 3 weeks because that was like optimal version. That was more than 2 weeks, which would be, for both of us, it was clear that it will be too short. And actually to do the residency more than 3 weeks, it wasn't possible for the institution. And at the end of this residency, I must say that 3 weeks was optimal time also for the artist in residence, and as well for project coordinator who stayed at the village all this time. And they were persons for whom this was the first such kind of experience, and 3 weeks, I would say that was maximum. So we were looking for Baltic artists working in any art field with a strong motivation to work with children. We received applications from theater, dance, and visual art fields. And mostly those were artists, not artist groups. We didn't ask for pedagogical experience, but that was certainly a strong plus why we chose Ingrīda. Apart from other benefits which we liked in her project. But yeah, now I can say that this pedagogical experience was a really good thing that she had, and without that, it would be much difficult to have this residency. The Ingrida's project was very interesting for us because it involved children. Children were involved, like that was the main point of her artwork. Actually, she was researching her art practice is based on research on the stories, listening stories from different people, from all kinds of people, and at the end, her work involves those stories, and she makes zines or wall paintings based on these stories. And the idea of this project was that children from the village would tell her the stories, and they together would do small comicses or zines, which are self-made publications of stories. And actually, it worked out very well. We didn't ask, but it was an option that we could do exhibition at the end of the project, and we're very happy that the opening of the exhibition took place last Saturday, and you will see later in the pictures, it looked really amazing, all those comics on the walls of exhibition hall. And maybe about the process, I would invite to talk more Vita and Ingrīda, so you can give more information on that. Regarding the feedback from the institution and the people who work there, we are still in the process. It's not done yet, but we are expecting to be done very soon, as soon as the residency will be over. Thank you.
Thank you, Odrija. Hello, everybody. I'm Vita Valheima. I'm a project coordinator for this residency. I've been working with various art projects cultural and art projects, more like events producer and then manager. And last few years we've been working with Riga Circus with let's say regular residencies, that artists come and just make their shows, and then they're not so involved with local auditories. So this is very kind of challenging and very interesting experience for me as a coordinator. And then also in a way we work with artists usually, because it was few auditories involved. More people were involved rather than just circus and artist, and then it's just a show or something like that. So Mara, is there is my slide on the visible to everybody? Yeah, sorry, thanks. So yeah, so I have just few points about each of the auditory learnings that we came. The work was very kind of intensive. We kind of came very naive to here, and as Odrija said, this is it was a very good, it was a bonus for us that this residency spot and this institution has already. It's kind of owned by international crew, and they have this experience of working with various kinds of activity providers, and they're very open to that. And on the other side, they were kind of also, they knew that the circus has experience, so we were kind of expected to manage to get things done on our own. So therefore I think we worked with Odrija very well, that we saw that we need some help from outsourcing, some psychological help or something, that we really made it through the process. Yeah. And from the logistics point of view, we had this preparatory visit, which was very beneficial to both parties, because we then cleared the needs and expectations, and a little bit content of the residency, and then we found out various details, like, for example, if the teenagers are not coming to or somehow not involving, then it's okay, because this activity is not very obligatory, or how do you say, obligatory for them. And so we kind of tried at the beginning to involve them, but it was, I think, maybe too short time, or also the summer schedules and everything like that. So then we kind of divided our efforts to the small children. It was kind of, and then we were not so stressed about not involving all the children, if they were kind of a little bit free to involve or not. And that was kind of bonus for us to know. And and at the beginning, and that's as a continuation of that, we are kind of a little bit overrating ourselves, our importance here, because everybody has this adaptation period, and we came as strangers, and we really needed this time to get to know how things are happening, because also regarding the teachers, that I will tell a little bit later, we just had a little meet and greet, but actually it would be really great if we would have the chance to either meet with all of them in group or individually, as I later did, when I found out that really they didn't know what to expect from us and how to react in the lessons, and and maybe that would help us more to ask for some clues and in more detail because daily life of these institutions is kind of very how do you say, they take, it's usual for them, but it's very unusual for us. Kind of, we didn't know what to expect, so we came a little bit naive that we're going to be the most important activity of the day, but a lot of things happen, and it would really affect the lessons and the scheduling, yeah, and so at the beginning, the teachers were just also observing. We are observing teachers that live with the children, and then we kind of found this way how to work with them in the process, and we actually, yeah, their kind of usual experience is just to take care of the discipline. But actually, in this case, we didn't want that, because they kind of intruded the process of the lessons and stuff like that. So we kind of asked them to leave. But maybe that was kind of good for us and the children. But on the other side, maybe we could have some involvement with them if we would like had this more preparatory time with them. And regarding the children, well, yeah, it's the same. We came in the evening and we started lessons in the next morning. So basically, maybe if there's a possibility and time for future residencies, you should plan a little bit more preparation time and this adaptation time on spot to understand these schedules and behaviors, because it's really affects the work and the results. And yeah, and also although the space and all the accommodation and everything is greatly planned here, we just in the middle of the residency really understood that maybe also the results and the children attention would be greater if we kind of got them out from their houses, not went to their houses. So that's also thinking about the space wise. I think it's a thing to think about, because yeah, then they're kind of distracted by the thing that they're at their homes. But also sometimes it helps when, for example, this one kid started crying during the lessons, then he could easily find his safe spot and and calm down. And yeah, and we were also very optimistic at the beginning about the group size, and I really thought that we can manage almost all the children from 5 to 12, and but yeah, then we understood that each of these children really need separate teacher in the ideal world. But so it was kind of good that the teenagers left, and we had an opportunity to really make the groups smaller, and then also the lessons and the scheduling became more kind of positive. So maybe Mara, next slide. And yeah, that's about the children. And regarding the artists, yes, as Odrija said, experience in pedagogy, this was the greatest asset of Ingrīda. She's a really great teacher, and I think without this, we would really had so much harder time, and we really were supporting each other in this. I think also, please don't send artists alone to these residencies, because it's a really everyday work. Not only with all these involved people, but also with ourselves and with our kind of spirits. And yeah, and this is also the other thing, is that as coordinator, you cannot only provide technical things, but really but really search how to provide other kind of support, like I said at the beginning. If we maybe it was a bit too late, but maybe not. we understood that we need an outside view from a psychologist that is experienced with these kind of kids, so we have so we can test if our ways, our methods and are kind of are we on the right way or not. So that was great from Riga Circus side also, and the management side, that we really were very flexible and very forthcoming regarding this. And really, it should be advised. I read it should be advised that the consultation is mandatory in advance before you go, because we were kind of too optimistic that we will get along on the spot. But really, even if you have had experience with these kind of institutions, you really have you need this outside view and some explanations regarding coordinating, there were this institution is really well planned and well organized. So from this logistics point of view, we really didn't have much problems or issues. As I said, the main issue is to be open and flexible regarding the daily schedule, and also maybe it was good that it's summertime for the children, that they are more free to not so stressed about school or other issues. That was kind of, and then we found out also what was very, very interesting at the very, very end of the residency, that, for example, when we asked children if we can have photos of them from the process and work, that we found out that they don't want to make these photos because some teachers are making photos when there's some bad behavior, and it's like a testimony to the bad behavior, and it's kind of negative reference to that. And it's like, we were like literally shocked about that, because you don't know these kind of details unless you just find out how they're living, and then various these kind of details came out during the process. And then we just Ingrīda was thinking how to, that we really need to involve children more in this decision making process, and ask their approval or explain the processes that are happening. And and that was kind of our a lot of time, a lot of effort was put into that. And what else? And regarding the coordinator or management, it's the same. If I'm assisting the artist, I really need to have this interest in pedagogy and also art process, because here you cannot just not regular stuff, just do your job. Because when we went to the lessons, I saw that Ingrīda is taking care of like one part of the group, so I was more like assistant to the teacher, because really we were managing the kids one by one. So to get this result and get this kind of work going and kind of involve them in a positive way, and we tried it to as much as we could. So I think Ingrīda will tell it more in detail how we managed. And the exhibition thing was kind of not mandatory or asked from the residency side, and I think it was kind of good idea from our side, that we really needed some general overview of the work that we have done, and actually we didn't have this sense of really big work being done, because every day you gather these few pictures from kids, and then you put them in the pile, and then after 3 weeks you see that you really can cover four walks, and you feel kind of really proud of the children, and proud of yourself that really some amazing works have been created. And I think, although in this case, even the process is more important than this result, but also if the result is somehow generalized, then it's really I think it makes grateful for this project. And that's in very short. We are still very overwhelmed, and still in Tesla, and so I think if it wouldn't be so emotional after some few time. So yeah, Ingrīda, you're welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Vita. So yes, first of all, thank you, Vita. You told a lot of things and struggles, and I will add some and also maybe expand some. And thank you, this program and Rīgas cirks particularly, for choosing me. and it was really a great opportunity. And these 3 weeks were very, very saturated for me. And yeah, it was a lot of great things and a lot of struggles as well. So it wasn't easy. Yeah, about me also, Odrija told a little bit, but I can tell you a little bit more. I'm artist and teacher. Actually, I'm quite young teacher. I'm not young, but I have been teaching animation and comics for 2 years for now at the Riga Art and Media School. But before, actually, I also have done a lot of art projects involving other people, and I have held workshops with really wide range of people. Like we did workshops with Latvian comics magazine Kush for seniors. We have done a lot of workshops for children. So I have worked before with children, but at my school I'm working mostly with young people. It's 16 till 19 years old, so it's a little bit another age than in Graši village. So yes, and for me teaching, yeah, I really like teaching, but it's really takes a lot of energy. And as I'm also an artist, from one side it's good because I can bring my artistic experiences. From other side, I'm probably sometimes too involved and I want to change system, and I don't agree with a lot of things that are going on in Latvian education. So, but yeah, it's not so easy. But I'm trying to do things to make more, to work at my classes more with positive motivation, not negative, and yeah, and also to make free and creative atmosphere. But yeah, and again, there are other problems. So yes, and I myself, I'm finished Latvian Academy of Arts, graphic design department, and then I finished Estonian Art Academy animation department, MA, and I have been drawing comics myself and also doing animation. So yes, for me, comics is one of media I'm working in, but it's quite important and big. And yes, as I have done also workshops with children, I decided to apply to this residency and to try to work with Graši people, children. And in the beginning, I had quite a strict program, not strict, but I had programs that I realized that it's nice to start with some small tasks, drawing portraits, then we create some comic characters. And I also like to use so-called edutainment. So we did some tasks that are more like game, so children or whatever, in other cases grown-up can see that you can be creative, not only struggle if you do something creative, but also can do things through the game and playing. But yeah, it went, as you can see in my this program, it went a little bit different because children were very impatient, and they were saying it's boring, I don't like it and everything, and then they wanted immediately to draw comicses. So I decided, okay, we will do comicses also in between already. We did some small tasks in the beginning. So self-portraits, and then some comics characters, and then drawing from nature, and then we did also comics, and then again we came back to playing with characters and doing comic stories, and I did also some tasks and some special tasks so they can fill out and learn particular things about comics. So and then we came again to comics and made this a little bit bigger zines. We realized that it's really nice that they have, as children, they need more space to draw. So we changed A4 zine to A3 zine, so they have more space. And yes, and then at the end we made exhibition, and yeah, for me it was, I think it was really great thing, and we did a lot of effort. And actually I was really surprised that we got negative feedback from children. Like most of children wasn't happy that there is exhibition, like in the beginning. When they came to exhibition, it seems all right, but it was, as Vita also told, for me, although I have quite big experience in teaching children, I can see that maybe I will go to the next. Yes, there were a lot of things that were very different from my school children or other children I have taught. So these children, yeah, the socially disadvantaged children, they are really, really different. And for me, it was different experience. And I used all my pedagogical things that I have learned in my life, but actually I realized that it's not enough. And yeah, it's in this case, it was really good that in the middle of the process, we separated them in smaller groups so we can work more individually, because these children, they need more attention. And they really like they need your attention, and they are ready to get it in any way. And unfortunately, mostly it's negative way that is really, really hard to take. And it was really nice that we had also this consultation of a psychologist who is working with socially disadvantaged children, and she said that yes, this negative thing, it's actually just asking for attention. And of course, in my school, I have had these kind of cases, but the scale is much bigger. So yes, it's sometimes it's really hard to balance how much you give to one child and then another child is getting jealous, and how to switch and how to get all them together. So yes, one of that's one of my struggles, or this also because of this getting attention, it's discipline, because they are very easily, they have really, really short attention span, and it's really hard they have really low motivation and low self-esteem. That's really sad. And they are really audibly are saying it all the time. I don't want to, I don't like it. They are calling you names. So again, I had this experience at school, but this was much more intense. And so I tried to deal with it and give them positive support, and all the time also big thanks to Vita. She's actually, thanks Vita for good words about my my teaching process, and I think that Vita is really talented teacher. She really helped me at the class. I would not manage alone, although at school I have classes with 22 people. And here in the beginning we had so all together we had 14 people, but in the beginning I don't remember, it was 12 or something, and it was really hard to discipline them. Yeah, so it's harder than my school. So it was good, the smaller groups, we managed better. And also it was good that Vita helped me a lot and really worked with these children, that we separated somehow. Half was, I was working with half of children, and with other half Vita was working. And then we switched, and then we, did, and I also helped her with organizing stuff. So it was really good cooperation. So yes, and so also this positive support, I think it's really huge part of good education. And in Latvia, unfortunately, I have seen different situations, and also with my students, very often I have seen this lack of this positive support. And with these children, very particularly, we had to tell them all the time, you are good, you will manage, you will do this. You see, it's going out very nice. Even if they done things, they bring you and they are saying, oh, it's horrible, look. So yes, and of course, as an artist, it also resonates, because for me, I also have these struggles, and I have grown up in Soviet kind of education system. And for me, it was also a huge learning how to educate, how to work in education. For me, there's negative sides of my education. What I got in Soviet times is kind of basis where I know how not to do, how not to work. And yes. So yes, and also we struggle with discipline, as I said, but then also with my children, I'm all the time learning as being young teacher. And one of the things that one colleague once told me from abroad, that he's doing the things that in the very beginning, he's talking with his kids about rules. And he's not coming with his rules, like taking out rules and saying, these are rules, you have to behave. But he is making these rules together with kids. And that is a great thing. So somehow, I don't know how it happened, but I forgot about it. And somewhere in the middle, we did these rules together with kids. And it really worked really good, worked out very well. And I think it's very also very important thing that in education, to cooperate with children, to give them a voice, not to come with rules, and but give them a voice, and and involve them in making decisions. And also, as Vita told about this photographing, actually we did several workshops. We did also a workshop in photography, because I had a photo camera, and they were very eager to make photos themselves. And also Vita had her phone. And then time to time we gave them this camera. And I think it also made this, as in general, they are somehow traumatized by this doing photography and being filmed. As they started to do it themselves, then they relaxed, and it was okay for them that we are making these photos, because they had also opportunity to make photos themselves. So yes, this is also a good thing to do. And I think, yes, this is very important also to ask permission. It doesn't matter is the kid like 10 or 5, you have to ask permission. And if it's obligatory and you want to make photos, you have to explain why you are doing it and for what. So yes, I think it's also important for cooperation. But yeah, in general, although it was really tough, children are really talented, and I'm like really happy with the results, and results are great. Although I agree with Vita. I think in this case, especially in this case, this process was very important for us and for them. And it was, I hope so, that for them it was maybe some of our supportive words will bring them somewhere else. And maybe also, yeah, this it's interesting also I have had these cases in education, how there are divided these things that are good for children and things that are bad for children. I'm sorry, I don't have very good formal English. Maybe sometimes I speak too primitive, but yeah, I'm trying to just tell the idea. So yes, we also have, even in our law, there is the thing about this tikums. Maybe somebody can help me. It's really, really hard to explain, but it's like being good. And we had a scandal with one teacher who told the class the poetry were involved some rude words, and she explains this poetry, but some of parents were really angry, and they went to officials and complained that how it comes that you come to class and teacher is telling you this rude poetry. So I think sometimes in education system, it's too strict, and sometimes we need to blend some things. And also, as an artist, I can see that art has this healing power, and sometimes you can do and make negative things, and in case of letting them out. Of course, we need borders, but we need some this blurry part where you can check what's really like destructive, and where you can let these children to do comics, for example, about poo. It's okay. It's so I think it's great that yeah, there is this you can have this some risky topics, because it's much easier to say that this is good, this is bad, and this is strict line, and nothing like everything about poo is bad, but it's not. And for me, it's, of course, it makes education process much more complicated, and as well, yeah, for teacher. But at the same time, it gives children creative freedom, because yes, that's the thing that these educators, they need discipline, and we need discipline as well, of course, to get children to do things and to have things done. But from other side, our task is to give them freedom, and to have that they have this opportunity to be creative. This is actually our main task. So these are a little bit sometimes struggling things, and things that are yeah, because making like this discipline too strict, you cut this creative part, and you got this children can have this just block or something. And also, yeah, as Vita told about a boy who were crying, actually in 2 years, or in all my entire workshop life, I never ever had a child who would cry. Never. And it was just because, yeah, he came to our class with a book, and he wanted to do his own task. And in the beginning, I thought, okay, all right, let him be doing his things and everything. But then he was angry because he didn't manage to do this task that he gave himself, and he started to cry. And yes, for me, it was, yeah, it was hard. But then again, yes, it was also really good advice from our advisor, Ines Lapsiņa, if I remember, yeah, correct. So she said that we have to give a break for this child, and I talked with him for a while, and then I realized that I cannot do anything, and I said to him, okay, relax, and then come back. And he went to his room, relaxed, and came back calmer. But yes, there are some techniques that teaching situations that for me was really like first time situations. So yes. So yes, my learnings that, yeah, for me it was first time, and I had different experience, although my teaching experience helped me a lot. And yeah, these children need more attention. And it's really important to establish rules in the very, very beginning. And then Vita already told, I think it's really good idea to have time to adapt, not to start already with tasks and teaching, but maybe few days when you are just observing, or you have some meetings with educators and have some kind of, and because we need to adapt, and also children need to adapt, and just somehow get used to us, because I think that that the second week we already had got this adaptation, and it went really much better. And then it was really, we talked also with Vita that it would be really great to have psychotherapists as a part of team, maybe not full time, but because we have all the time situations, and we have to deal with these situations, and we deal as we can. But sometimes they are really like you need advice, like now you need this like somebody who is really like professional in and working with socially disadvantaged children. That I also realize only in the middle that we need this help, and it would be really great to have some meeting in the beginning of workshop, and then somewhere residency, and then somewhere in the middle, and then maybe at the end. And so we can discuss situations. And first we got some information how to work and what are these differences. And yes, and for me, it's also, I'm really glad that there was this opportunity to have this specialist and to ask these advices. It was really, really helpful. And for me, it was also, as in my school, we don't have this kind of help. It was for me kind of step to ask for this help, not just to see, okay, I have problems, but I have problems also at school every day. So yes, but it's really good, I think, to understand what's the problem and really ask for help. And yes, as Vita already said, also it would be nice to have more collaboration with local educators, and probably have this at this adaptation time some kind of meeting all together and discussing things and everything. And also I realized that also as a teacher, I really learned to recharge and to have time for myself. It's if you have this kind of job, it's really a necessity, not luxury. And here it was also very good that we had this opportunity. We have here opportunity to go to the forest, to go to the lakes, we have this nature side that is giving us opportunity to have this recharge, because it's not easy. So yes, that's about it. And then I can show you a little bit of material from, and this is first class where we did portraits, and there is some educators' portraits as well. So there is another where they are doing particular tasks. One, as you can see, was about drawing your angry bubble. And the one guy draw really nicely something about bubbles with farting bubbles. I think it's really funny. And then also we had tasks where you can draw different faces and facial expressions, and you can see that one guy, we had one task where you had to draw how do you feel right now, and this one I think is for me was a bit shocking. How do you feel right now? Also, although there were a lot of children who draw just smiley faces as well. And then we did also comicses, and there are children drawing comicses. And then I also wanted to show you a few comicses. This is comics about pencil. And then this pencil is a meeting page. And then he's asking him permission to draw on this page. And then he's drawing another pen on this page. And then this another drawn pen becomes his twin. And then they are going to school, and then they are arriving to school, and they realize that it's summertime and school is closed. I think it's really great story. And then another story about the big and small tree. It's about the guy who put the seed in the soil, and then there is tree growing, and then it grows and grows. And when it outgrows other trees, somebody's cutting this tree. And these two trees, yeah, it's really, really nicely drawn. So this one. And here is exhibition poster where I used drawings of children, what we did while doing residency. And then, can you please, Mara, we can show a small film about exhibition, so you can have overlook that time lapse that Vita did. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. I think it was a very interesting session. Now we have some time for questions. I think as we're not so many people, then we could actually raise our voices and ask the questions ourselves. While we're looking for someone to put their hand up or switch off their microphone, just a very short question. After all this experience that you have now of being there, if someone would ask you to go there again, would you do this experience again?
Maybe Vita, you can ask first.
I think Ingrīda had an idea to film a documentary about this place, so she wants to come back. No, it's awesome. Yes, I would love to come back. Maybe not for 3 weeks, but yes.
And then just as well, because we have been working on this concept with the network for a long time, and I know that in residency in Sons of Sea, for example, they have had these long-term residencies, but they have had as well the period residencies to go and come back. Do you think that could be a solution? For example, coming in for like 3 days every week for a month or 2 months, or somehow cutting those time frames, or you still think that this 3 week non-stop being there is the best time frame for this type of project?
For me, it's really hard to say because, it's from one side, I really liked it that we had this, we went every day to children and work with them. Although we had, I think, nice dynamics that we decided to do one group one day, another day, so they don't have these classes every day, so they can have some gaps in between. But I don't know. It's because to compare, I need to have these both experiences. I don't know, really hard to say.
Someone wants to comment on or share experience or ask some question about this residency?
Yes, I can ask something. Thank you for your presentation. I think it was really interesting, and I think you have done a great job, even if it seems like really tough weeks. But a question I have is about frames. When you are creating frames for the work, what are your thoughts about when you are making these frames? How much you decide to get the work kept together, keep it together, and at the same time make it open for the participants' own imagination. Do you have any? How have your thoughts been?
No, I'm not sure that I understood the question. Do you mean by frames this discipline thing, or?
No, not at all. I mean like the artistic practice and what you have been creating. Like you have made comics.
Yes.
And how you have been thinking about it. Like how much should I decide?
Man liekas, ka viņi domā, teiksim, cik daudz tu dod brīvību tur to stāstu un to visu to tādā ziņā tiem dalībniekiem.
Actually, for me, it's really differs. Like, for example, at school, I have more rigid this and more strict this rules and also tasks. But here, also, I decided to have topic at the end for this bigger comics. That was summer adventure, and I wanted to keep it quite wide, but at the same time, like that they have something to. Because if you have total freedom, usually it's really hard. And even for children, you need to give them some hints or some topics. Otherwise, they are lost, and you need to guide them somehow. But yes, in this case, actually, I kept it quite wide and quite free, and I gave them a lot of freedom. Only when we did these tasks, one day we did tasks that I wanted them to show that there are this kind of bubbles in comics and this kind of, but still they had freedom. Like I draw these bubbles and they had to fill up what they're saying or what they're thinking or what is in this bubble of the sound. So yes, in general, I think, in this case, for me, yes, I think the main thing was more about somehow showing them that it's joy, but it's joy, this process thing, not although I also wanted to give them some knowledge, not only just drawing. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you a lot for this presentation. It's very interesting experience, and you talked about recharging needs. And what do you do to recharging and relieve stress, maybe?
Maybe I can start.
Yes.
Because at the beginning we were so enthusiastic that we put lessons also on Saturdays, and then after this first weekend we understood that it's not enough just one day off from this intensive work. So we allowed ourselves also to the free Saturday, and then here it's very easy to kind of recharge. You just go in the nature. Or we went to some concerts, just do some other stuff than talk, because it was also, as we lived together, it was also kind of hard not to talk about work all the time. So this we had to kind of also discipline ourselves not to involve too much in this, because you can talk about it all day, when you have this extensive emotional experience and thinking about tomorrow's lesson and everything like that. So we kind of disciplined ourselves very much when we talked a little bit about after the lessons. Then we had free time. We close the door. We go each other way, and and that's how that I think that we did also well, because otherwise you kind of get too much into this all work.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Although I can say that I think it was also very important that we discussed things together. It was also recharging, also to discuss what happened. But of course, I think, yes, you have to put some border, because yes, if you talk about it and think about it all the time, of course it's very stressful and it's too much. And for me it's like going to the forest mushrooming. That's my kind of. And yes, we went also to some concerts. We were lucky that we got some concerts here, and yes, that you switch your just mind to other things. and not having all the time on this one topic.
Thank you.
And you were talking a lot about the challenges, but if you think, what are maybe the main things that the kids got from this? Did the institution got something from this? And if you as an artist got something from this experience?
Yes, sure. I think the main word for this is experience. So yes, for me as a teacher, it was a new experience and expanding my knowledge, and also expanding my views. And as for artists, yes, it's also, as I said before, for me, it's also thinking about wider things, about education in general, about systems, how systems work, how education work, what's happening in this frame and in this situations with kids, what's happens with teachers, because also it's really hard to try and come with your own system in already accomplished system, because it's you still need to somehow to cooperate between these educational systems. Yes, for me it's as I am interested in social topics, it was really huge experience and large, like new kind of knowledge. And for children, as I said, I can only hope that this experience was for them, and we did everything that to have this, that they have this positive experience, and that they got some positive things that we said and supported, and that they will bring it, and probably some of them will continue to do art and continue to do, because some of them are really talented, and I also advise them strongly to do things in art and everything. So yes, for me it's to raise interest in arts, and also to bring this joy, and a little bit to boost self-esteem, and to get positive motivation.
I think maybe for the organization, it's kind of the children had something very meaningful to do, and that's a good thing. But maybe not so good thing was that we came there as a little bit, rebels, and started, trying to change the way that really teachers talk to the children and stuff like that. Maybe that's somehow we disturbed a little bit the usual kind of way of communication. But otherwise, I think the institution and children hopefully gained more than I don't really. We were just talking with the director this morning. No, there are no really negative effects to this. I don't know. It's just positive things that art can do with them. So we can just hope that somebody, some children just had this little hint, and they keep on putting their emotions on while drawing or something like that. So I think that's cool.
I have one last question, and then if nobody will have any more questions, then we can finish the session. I wanted to ask, do you think that, it's two questions actually, do you think first that it would be possible to have a residency maybe with another artistic discipline, but with someone who is not Latvian speaking, if the coordinator would be Latvian speaking, like Vita, for example? That was the first question. And the second, would you dare, not certainly working with kids, but to work in any type of closed type of institution, would you dare to try to work in this type of residence abroad? In a non-Latvian speaking environment, for example?
As for me, I think, I don't know, of course, Vita maybe will tell better, but yeah, I think it would be quite hard because these children, they need really special attention and a lot of attention, and you need to communicate with children immediately, and I think it's quite hard to get this translation all the time, and sometimes they just come to you and start telling things, and I don't know, it's because they don't speak English well, actually, these kids. So I see that it could be problematic, although they have guests from abroad and they are learning like cooking while we were here. They got some classes, also cooking classes, so I guess somehow manage, but I don't know how it works in wider period, because I think it's really a huge difference between coming to one workshop or having this long-term workshop. It works differently and you can become more involved. So yes, for me, I think it would be complicated. And as for residencies abroad, from my side, it would be really interesting to have also this experience.